welcome back to Straight Talk, discussing all sorts of things that's going on in and around our community. And the next topic, I think a lot of people are traveling back and forth right now across the border, and there's a lot of issues that have arisen, not just with traffic, but with some of the documentation that have required us going across the border. And there seems to have been some sort of incident.
Well, in Aguasasni, traveling across the border is a daily issue. And it's only been, there are elements to what happened. Here's basically the story is that somebody who worked for the Mohawk Council of Aguasasni, was crossing over, going to Cornwall, okay, to an annual fundraising event.
Right.
Okay, and the issue was, she left from St. Regis Village, which is in theoretically, or not theoretically,
in New York State.
Jurisdiction. No, it's in Quebec.
Okay.
It's in Quebec.
Oh, okay.
The only thing that differentiates it from New York State is a little monolithic marker on the side of the road. It's old as dirt. Okay. So, but there's no border crossing and nothing. So you got to come there. Then, of course, you got to go down Highway 37 through New York State to come back over the bridge, two bridges, now to end up back in Canada.
Right.
Okay? But you're from Aguasasni. And now, in my view, a lot of this has to do with the fact that the people of Aguasasni said no to the border guards carrying guns on their land.
Right.
Okay? So now the port of entry is now in Cornwall. It's at the traffic circle at the foot of the bridge. And so now you got to go through there. Say even if you work in St. Regis, or you live in Snai, and you got to go to the Cornwall Island, you have to call them. You have to let them know that you're there, and then you at some point within a certain period of time have to go and report to them. Yeah, it's crazy. So here's the story. The lady Joyce Kings works for the Aguasasni Justice Commission. She has to go to a fundraiser. Okay. Now her sister picks her up, okay, because her driving license is in a state of limbo. It expired. She only had a temporary license. Her sister drove. So they drive. They go from St. Regis Village. They go to New York State. They go across the bridges and they come to Cornwall. They ask for the identification. What's your identification? So she looks into her purse and she sees, well, this driver's license is not acceptable. It doesn't have a picture. It doesn't have this. So she sees her Haudenosaunee passport. Okay, so because after asking the guy, the lady at the border thing, what do you need? Anything with your ID, a picture ID. So she takes that out. They look at it and they say, this is a fantasy document. This is a fantasy document. This is not. And they say, you go park over there. You go park over there. And then apparently they tell her, you sit down. Nobody else has to sit down that's there. So they take it from her, they confiscate it here. It's this fantasy document, which is the Haudenosaunee thing. Now, because she then wants to know what else. So she in the end, she pulls out a status card, which they let her go on. They let her go on. So it brings up a lot of questions, really.
And they never gave her back her passport?
No, they didn't. So I actually, when I heard about it, when I heard news of it, I sent an email to Kenneth Deere, and I said, you probably already got this, because he gets the same sources as I do for a lot of this news stuff. Anyways, he said, yes, we're on it, the Confederacy is on it, and they're requesting the document back from the Canada Border Services, because it's a property of the Haudenosaunee. So that's another issue.
So apparently they said that she can have it back.
No, what did they?
They said she can have it back. She just has to go there and get it, but she can't use it anymore.
Well, this is a huge issue. I mean, it's a huge issue on a number of different levels.
So I think that the issue now is, I guess she's deciding whether she should go get it back, because now there are strings attached to it when there shouldn't be.
The way I understand, she's used it before. I read that she had it stamped from
I don't know,
other trips that she'd taken.
She flew into, it could only be in Montreal, or maybe it was Toronto, whatever. She flew into Canada with it in the last.
But regardless, it's been
And they
it's been
stamped
used.
it.
But regardless, it's been used by a lot of people over the years, and there's never been a problem. Look at when the lacrosse team had gone to England; they weren't allowed entry because of that.
the
And
UK.
then this year they went back.
Okay, but
No,
And
they,
it
they
might
had-
can wait.
it wasn't in England.
Where was it?
It was in Prague.
Prague.
Yeah.
And then but then this year they went with them and they were allowed.
Okay, but
to go through it.
to a degree, Mike, you're mixing apples and oranges, if I may, because what you're talking about, that was from Haudenosaunee people traveling from the U.S. over. What difference does that make? Well, the difference it makes is that the U.S., while they have struggled with it, they have constitutionally and otherwise recognized the fact that there is an Iroquois nation, Iroquois Confederacy. They do recognize it, and then it comes down to on the ground. It comes down to who you meet. Who's the first face you see when you come through the border, when you come through customs for clearance? Do they know or do they not know? The guys who traveled down to South America from town. There was Wajas and I think Tyler Hemlock, and they got stuck down there, and they refused to sign off on documents for Canada to allow them to come back. They eventually did get through, and they got through because an American border guy said, no, we know what this is. You guys can come back through here, and then you can make your way home from there. Now the thing with Canada, the issue with Canada is they don't recognize it. They don't recognize it, and they don't. So they would, in theory, they always say they would never accept that anyways. These are the documents we accept. A passport or a Canadian, now a secure certificate of Indian status, whatever the heck that means, okay, as the one thing they're going to recognize, and not that. So it is a little bit different when you look at it that way. But the fact is and I know, on whether it be on the ground or in the air, is that, say, like Kenneth Deers traveled with
Abroad.
Yeah, abroad, using that passport.
But it's coming back into Canada. Has
Well,
he
it's-
ever had
it's
an
an
issue?
Well, number one, I don't know about him flying into Canada. Maybe he flies into the United States. I'm not entirely certain of that. But I happen to know that I traveled with him, and I traveled with another person, two other people, when they had the border guard issue a couple of years ago.
But the thing is, you
through
don't
on
need-
by road, and they accepted it, coming back.
But regardless, as soon as you get into Canada, you no matter how you're coming into Canada, whether you're coming off a plane, do you have to show them a passport, or you can just show them your status
Yeah,
card
you gotta,
and
no,
ID
no,
once you're at the airport?
now, in the post 9/11 world, in the last few years, that's, apparently you can't get on an airplane
But I'm
from
sorry,
Dorval
But regardless.
unless you have a
that's-
passport, unless
but
you have
that's
a
going out,
passport.
But coming back in, because you are
Yeah, they will
technically
refuse
a
you.
Canadian
They
citizen,
refuse you.
Canadian citizen.
See, they have refused, they've tried to refuse people, like, unless you buckle down and say, oh, I'll sign here, and I'll say, yes, you know what, I'm a Canadian. That's what it is, and that's the issue here, one of the issues. The other issues, are they gonna, Canada, will they recognize or will they not? And apparently they don't want to. With that, we'll take a break. We'll get back to more straight talk after these messages. Don't go away.